Hello, this is Nick Dutch, and I'm doing a little video about a small comment exchange which has appeared on a particular video that was put out by a particular atheist called WiseMonkey888. Quite an interesting and intriguing, erudite and well-spoken YouTube user he is. But in this particular case, I decided to address the title of the video in the comment section of that aforementioned video. The title being, Atheists Suffer from a God Complex? So what I decided to do is to address the title. In addressing the title of the video, I personally don't think that atheists have a God complex, but the worldview is still a faith position based on information that is, at best, second hand. Think about what I've said there. I personally don't think that atheists have a God complex. Obviously there are some atheists out there who may have maybe some variety of messianic complex, but that would of course be a different issue. And I'm sure some people out there may have some inkling of who I could be referring to in this particular statement. But never mind. My statement was that I personally don't think that atheists have a God complex. The next thing that I say is, but the worldview is still a faith position. Now, if you were to take the possibility that you believe that this is a mobile phone, then it is still a belief. For all you know, watching this video right now, this could be a computer-generated image which I have inserted using some excellent 3D computer-generated imagery software. So in fact it might not be a mobile phone, but might in fact be a mere representation of one created by pixels generated by maybe 3D Studio Max or Blender.org software, for instance. But it would be a faith-based position that this thing, which appears to be, and the word is appears because this could just be 3D CG in my hand, is in fact a mobile phone. It still is a faith position, despite the fact that you feel, or you may feel very strongly, that yes, that is definitely a mobile phone in his hand, because it is second-hand information. Because you're watching it on this particular video, you would have to say, therefore, that you have taken this point of view, this stance, that this thing which I appear to be holding in my hand is in fact a mobile phone on the basis of second-hand information which could be true or could be false, and is therefore a faith-based position. Now, if you were to take another point of view, namely that right now, because you can't see anything in my hands, you may make a wild guess that there is nothing in my hands whatsoever. So instead of believing that there is a mobile phone in my hands, you would believe that there is nothing in my hands. Or you would have a lack of belief that there is something in my hands right now. In what way is that different? In what way is that not a faith-based position? I have a lack of belief in something, therefore, do I have a faith-based position? It might be a negative position. Instead of believing that something is there, you don't believe that something is there. You may have a disbelief that something is possible. Leaping tall buildings in a single bound, for instance. Or doing well at Amway. Whatever it is. You know, would still be a faith-based position. Because there is faith, and there is a position. So that is what I've said. The worldview is still a faith-based position based upon information that is at best second-hand. If we were to think about, let's say, cosmology, for instance, the universe and all the rest of that kind of jazz, what do we have? What do you and I have? You and I as individuals. What do we have which proves that there are galaxies? That there is a solar system? Well, we could always observe with our own multi-million-dollar telescopes in our backyard. Or alternatively, we could watch the Discovery Channel and have somebody else show us some images which could be true or could be false, but we believe that they're true. Therefore, we have a faith-based position. And we could accept the information which we are being given. We will therefore be accepting a faith-based position, that there are stars and galaxies, Milky Way, solar system, that there is dark matter, dark energy, that there are various subatomic particles which do various different things. All this information is second-hand information. And when we accept it, we are believing it, accepting it to be true, on faith that the source in question is unquestionably correct. It is still a faith-based position. Same too with the idea of the origin of the universe, evolution, and all the rest. Unfortunately, this is still the case. These are still faith-based positions. From your and my point of view, of course, you have not actually travelled on the Beagle, you have not actually gone round the Galapagos Islands, you have not actually done the primary research, have you now? No, nor have I. Although I personally do accept evolution 110%, because I feel it's a very useful, very good, very positive model as to the way that species have evolved and developed on the face of the planet. I might quickly add, prior to getting any further criticism in a certain part of this particular YouTube blog. But let's move on, away from what I said, onto what this other individual called Cross Old Man, I think his YouTube channel name is. What would an atheist worldview be? Question mark. What do all atheists believe other than that they lack a belief in gods? Your comment makes no sense. Obviously, I'll just explain to you, in pure confidence, just you and I, that my comment actually does make some sense, and in fact a great deal of sense. But let's think about it. What would an atheist worldview be? Well, it is the worldview which essentially atheism fits into, or indeed could be wrapped around or somehow incorporated with the concept of atheism. Therefore, the fact that a person is an atheist suggests that they have a worldview which incorporates certain themes or certain ideas which are part of that worldview. Therefore, atheism is in fact their worldview. And of course, it is believed and or disbelieved and or taken as fact or accepted to be true that there is no gods. It is therefore, ergo, part of their worldview to accept the fact, in their eyes, that there is in fact no god or gods. This is therefore part of their worldview. I don't quite see what the problem is. What do all atheists believe other than that they lack a belief in gods? Well, they believe in the lack of gods. Therefore, there is a worldview in which they believe in the lack of the existence of gods. It is still a belief or an acceptance. You might turn around to me and say, well, what about a lack of belief or a disbelief? These things are not beliefs, no, but they're still faith positions. Because you have information or you have a point of view, and points of view, whether they're true or false, are still information-based, which are, in fact, based upon something. What are they based upon? Thoughts, feelings, emotions, ideas, watching the Discovery Channel, going to university, learning that, oh my word, there is this wonderful thing called evolution. Yes, there is the Big Bang. My word, that must destroy the, the possibility of there being God or gods. But it's still information which could be true or could be false or could be misinterpreted. But all you've got is the vast body of knowledge there, which you then accept point blank. And you accept it point blank because you've gone through it all and it makes some intellectual sense, in accordance with certain styles and structures of reasoning which you might call science, or scientific thought, or physical reductionism. But it is still a faith-based position and still a worldview that there is no gods in accordance with atheism. So of course what I replied was, lacking a belief in gods is a worldview. So, now we go back to Cross Old Man, who has replied to my statement, lacking a belief in gods is a worldview, with this incredible phrase. So then, if you believe in every god man has ever invented, you have no faith and therefore you don't have a worldview? Question mark. Lords, ladies and gentlemen, is that or is that not a complete non sequitur and misrepresentation of the position which I put forward in my statement, lacking a belief in gods as a worldview? Obviously that's up to you to decide. It's just my, I report, you decide if you get my drift. You know what I mean? Alright? So, on with the comment. LOL. Sorry, but a lack of belief takes no faith and is not a worldview. When I gave the example of this little mobile phone in my hand and I pointed out that this could in fact be CG, you may not believe it's CG, you may think it is a real cell phone. But you don't know that. You therefore have a worldview vis-a-vis that particular mobile phone. And now you can't see my hands. You may have a worldview as to what is in my hands right now, or what is not in my hands right now, or a lack of belief of what is in my hands right now. For it is still a worldview, or a point of view about something in the world. Some people can't understand that, which is of course really rather shallow and lacking in intellectual thought, in my humble opinion. So the comment goes on, perhaps you need to look up the words and find out what they mean. So what do we actually see here? A certain level of arrogance, maybe? A certain level of conceitedness associated with their position as opposed to mine? An inability to actually read the words, pay attention to them, and think about what they actually mean in great detail? Maybe. We certainly have not a skeptical point of view, but an irrational point of view, an illogical point of view, and breaching reason on many different points, including misrepresentations. To a great and astounding degree. It's almost to the equivalent of a firework display. So I have found myself really rather entertained by this particular comment exchange with Cross Old Man. Maybe this shows something that we all need to pay attention to, whether you're an atheist or a theist or an agnostic. And that is that there is something about us as humans, which means that we are quite likely to make some mistakes once in a while. And often those who believe that they are free thinkers aren't, and those who believe that they are rational are frequently highly irrational.